Introducing Panic Penelope, a fun toy your kids will love to play with. Penelope comes with many key features like her bottle, which is the only thing that will make her stop crying. Why won't she stop crying? Where is her bottle? I don't know, sweetie. Thank God. What is this? Why don't you just take the batteries out and kill it? There's no battery.
It all started with an exorcism gone wrong that put him into a sleep. Once long ago lived an old couple with 3 children in a tiny house. It was said that the youngest of them all killed the entire family. And with no regrets, she slit her wrists and bled to death on the floor. And legend says she still hangs around for any guest.
What is this place?
Why?
Are you okay?
No! Sure.
Why would you do this to me?
Oh, hello. Greetings from the graveyard, and welcome to the annual Burgaw Ghost Walk. I've just been here telling Daddy what a wonderful thing it is that the Historical Society is raising money to get me my very own headstone. So, here we all are. My name is Maddie Bloodworth, and some of you remember me from previous ghost walks. You would have to walk through the whole town of Burgaw to hear the stories, and you would see me sitting on the bench outside of my apartment at Dee's drugstore. Well, tonight you all just sit back and relax because we ghosts are going to be doing the walking. For those of you who remember me, you will remember that I was born and raised here. You might remember that I wrote the book, The History of Pender County. And you should remember that I was a newspaper photographer and a society editor, and that I love the color red. But you may not know that I was also a staunch supporter for women's rights. We marched all over the country, getting our voices heard, and finally, on August 18, 1920, women were given the right to vote. Oh, it was wonderful traveling around the country. And I just love to travel. In fact, I even took a job as a sales lady, a traveling sales lady for Grove's Tasteless Chill Tonic. Oh, I just love to travel, as I was saying. I even took a job as a traveling sales lady for Grove's Tasteless Chill Tonic. It was awful tasting stuff, but it really took away those malarial chills and fevers. Well, when you travel, you meet the most interesting people, and some unsavory characters too. Why, once when I was peddling Chill Tonic in Sand Hills, Alabama, I met a fella named Jack. Oh, he seemed okay at first, and he really took a shine to me, but something just didn't feel right. Oh, it was fun to flirt, and there's something very enchanting about a man who gives you his complete attention. But Jack thought more of me than I thought of him, and maybe he thought less of me, because I soon found out that he had a wife back home, and she thought she was a widow. Oh, well, Jack wrote to me later to apologize for his lying, cheating, offensive behavior, but I didn't write him back. I wrote him off. Oh, I just love to take pictures and write articles for the newspaper. I wrote for the Pender Chronicle, you know, and a few others. The Pender Chronicle merged with the Pender Post, and then the Pender Post merged with the Topsail Voice, and now I think they call it the Pender Topsail Post and Voice. Whatever. In 1936, I was asked to write an opinion on a new book that had just come out, Gone with the Wind. Oh, it was a scandalous portrayal of genteel Southern society. Margaret Mitchell's characters, Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler, behaved completely without morals. I was so proud that the book was rejected by the library of the Burgaw High School. Scarlett O'Hara is a perfect example of how not to behave. You young girls have to be careful. A man will judge you by what you wear and how you behave. If there's one thing I cannot abide, it's seeing a pretty young thing skimpily clad and gallivanting around town, parading at the Pig, and hanging out at Harold's, or even wearing short shorts and a tank top to the theater. Say, that reminds me, did you know that I opened the first movie theater here in Pender County, right here in Burgaw? We named it the Pender Theater, and it was right over there on Fremont Street. Ah, the Pender Theater, right across from the courthouse lawn. Hey, you! Get off the courthouse lawn! Let me see now. That was December 1927. I paid $355 for a Zenith Model E6 projector and a used movie screen in very good condition. We played silent movies then, not like these talkies that you see now. No, silent movies were a community affair. Everybody got involved. Someone from the neighborhood would play the piano for the background music, and the school children would read the subtitles for those who couldn't read. Oh, it was marvelous. No matter that the children read all in unison and in a monotone. "Oh no," she cried. "Unhand me, you villain." Oh, the children just loved to go to the movies. But some of those rascals always tried to sneak in without paying. Jake Gorski, for one. And probably that bicycle-riding, pea-shooting scamp Johnny Westbrook would have too if he could have. Oh, well, this is how they would do it. One of Jake's friends would be selling tickets in the ticket booth outside, and he would let Jake and his boys in without paying. They would sneak in to the balcony while I was downstairs collecting tickets in the house. And then, when I went upstairs to the balcony, they would sneak back down and hide hunkered down in the house. I let them get away with it. They were some of the best readers. Well, that's all for tonight. But before I go, I wanted to get something straight with you all. It's something that's been weighing me down, and that's not easy to do in my current condition. You humans have a grave misconception about ghosts. There is an apprehension that ghosts are longing to be free, that we haunt because we're feeling trapped. But that is just not so. At least it's not so in my case. I do not need to be set free. I am free. I am of this town and of its history. I am this town. Every brick, every building, every steeple, every street, every sidewalk crack, the very air.
You might know them better as pirates. It's been said that a pirate or two roamed these here waters. Might even have had an occasion to bury some of their plunder here. Did you know was the pirates would give Topsail Inlet, Topsail Sound their name? Aye, indeed it was. Them old pirates hide around the backside of Topsail Island, wait to spot the topsails of the great merchant ships. And they'd go racing out, going full speed, to plunder them ships. This worked well, too. So the merchant ships captains got wise to what they'd be up to. And they turned the tables on them old pirates. They set their men high atop the mainsail, watching to spot the topsails of the pirate ships. Hence the name, topsail. So you see, it's quite possible that a pirate or two buried their treasure here on Topsail Island. No ship able to go full speed with a full belly, if you knows what I mean.
Matey, I'm tired, and me back hurts. 300 years we've been out here digging holes. And tonight, 10 holes I've dug. No treasure. Matey, I'm tired and I want to run.
Keep digging. The map says the treasure be buried here. We're doomed for eternity if we don't find the treasure. Keep digging.
Dig, dig, dig. All you know is keep digging. Never a treasure. That map can't be right.
The map says there be a tree, and the moon shall cast a shadow over the tree with Sloop Point in sight. Keep digging!
Lady, can you even read? There'll be 5 trees here. Can't you count them? How do you know it's that tree? That's got the moon shadow, and at this point, because I've been digging, there be no treasure here, matey. None over 300 years. Every full moon, you have me out of here. I'm tired, matey. You don't give me any more rum, I don't dig.
The treasure be here. If we don't find the treasure, we're cursed to dig for eternity.
Matey,
Keep digging.
matey,
Or
what do you mean, or? I'm tired of digging, so I want to hear about this.
the
or.
map says if we find someone to take our place, we'll be free.
Matey, no. Have you looked at the stars? Can y'all see the stars? They're brighter tonight than they ever have been. Matey, that's a signal. There be people on this island tonight to take our place. Ah, we got ya! You're gonna take our place.
Watchmen, prepare yourselves! Someone marches on our camp! Halt! Who goes there? Are you friend or foe? Friend.
We feared you were some of those loyalist Tories we defeated at Moore's Creek. You see, nearly 800 of them came upon us. We had to take apart the bridge, take the planks off, grease the girders. I fear those that made it across the bridge, it was not a pretty sight.
Indeed. Scottish Highlanders, down from Cross Creek. How many of them fell in the battle?
They say nearly 30 of them died in front of our earthworks. Caswell believes 70 to 80 or so lost their life. You know, that it's a shame what happened to that one gentleman from Duplin County. What was his name?
Indeed, Private John Grady.
Yes. You see, he's the first of us from North Carolina to lose his life for independence. I pray he's the last, but I know the British won't give up. I think we're in for a long war.
As do I. And even though this battle is over, I still hear myself hearing the sounds of bagpipes at night.
You've heard that as well?
Aye.
Ever since we've left Cross Creek, piercing through the air as I'm standing guard or in my tent, I've heard that noise. And as I'm walking along the earthworks or down the trail, I see the loyalists in the woods, piercing, waiting to attack. I hope Caswell and Lillington finish their meeting. I'm ready to lead this eerie battlefield.
As am I.
That sound. Do you all hear that?
What is that?
That sound, do you all hear that sound? There they are.
What? Where?
They're behind us. They're marching on us.
Behind us?
Prepare. You all don't seem as fearful as I am.
Where?
Prepare yourselves.
What is it?
They're marching upon. Are you not seeing or hearing this?
Seeing or hearing what? I saw nothing. I heard nothing. Your mind is playing tricks on you again. You're chasing ghosts.
Here.
All you've done is scared these poor, nice people. They need to be on their way anyways. We have preparations ourselves. We need to get ready for the march. I just hope that this battle has shown the king that we are willing to do whatever it takes in order to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
And if more battles need to be fought in order to secure our freedoms, we stand ready to do that.
You all can help us with this. I need all able-bodied men, 16 to 60, who will help take up arms and defend our liberties. Will you do that, sir? Some of you are backing away.
Stand with us!
If you're not willing to take up arms, you can support us in other ways. You can boycott British goods. You can give up your time and of your resources. Will you do that?
Yes.
I'm thoroughly convinced. Not really. This is going to be a long war. I thank you for your time. Be careful this evening.
This will be a long war. Before you continue on, I want to remind you to be cautious tonight. As you move on down this road, some of those Tories escaped us. And I worry that as you continue, you may run into them. So be safe. Watch over yourselves. And good evening.
Good evening. Men, gather your gear. It's time to go. Let's go!
Mrs. Rose O'Neill Greenhow was a wealthy Washington socialite whose sympathies were with the South. She knew several presidents and entertained many important statesmen in her home. She gathered and passed useful information to the South. She was caught and imprisoned as a spy, but later released on condition that she leave Washington and not return during the war. Later, she sailed from Wilmington, North Carolina on a blockade runner to Europe to get financial support for the South. She met with Queen Victoria and Napoleon III and was well received. She published her memoirs in London and made a great deal of money. About a year later, she returned to North Carolina aboard the Condor, a British blockade runner that ran aground off the coast near Fort Fisher. She was carrying gold in a purse hung from her neck. She insisted on boarding a rowboat against all advice and perished when the boat overturned. She was buried with full military honors in Oakdale Cemetery in Wilmington. Legend was that she had sewn gold coins into her garments, which caused her to sink and drown. Most likely, it was the weight of her Victorian-era clothing that caused her undoing. Some say her ghost can be seen walking the beach near Fort Fisher and Topsail Island. It's not true what they say. I did not sew gold jewelry and coins into my petticoats. I am not a foolish woman, quite the contrary. I foreshadowed what was to follow, and I had a desire to obtain a thorough insight into the plans and schemes of those who were to become the prominent actors in this fearful drama, that I might turn it to the advantage of my country when the hour of action arrived. To this I employed every capacity with which God endowed me, and the results were far more successful than my hopes would have flattered me to expect. I have verbatim reports of every caucus of every cabinet council. I gathered a great deal of information about Union activities and plans before they sent me out. I sailed to England and was received by Queen Victoria. While in London, I arranged to have my book published. It sold very well in Britain. My writing brought in a great deal of money. I also went to France to acquire support for our cause. I was received most kindly, but oh, how I longed to return home. It's not true. It's not true. That's not how it happened at all. It was my garments, the layers and layers of clothing which was the custom at the time. There were yards and yards of material which absorbed the seawater, pulled me down below the waves, until alas, I was lost.
The wetlands of southeastern North Carolina have long been an area of mystery. Our rivers, swamps have been used for hundreds of years for hunting grounds, hideouts, and military operations. Some areas are so impenetrable a person cannot get through by boat, let alone on foot. The air is thick with the stale smell of decaying plants, and on a hot night, deafening buzzing and croaking noises take over the swamp from all directions. Cypress trees whose roots grow strangely up out of the water as if they are trying to escape. Spanish moss cloaks the branches like moth-eaten scars from a dusty attic. These dark waters are host to many animals, including a few you may not want to encounter alone. Bear, alligator, and snakes all call these areas home. It is no wonder that stories have arisen through the years of unexplained events. Most notable are reports of glowing, moving lights observed in various places around the swamps and wetlands. There are many names for these lights: will-o'-the-wisp, jack-o'-lantern, fairy lights, ghost stones. Others claim that the lights are simply a natural phenomenon of bioluminescence from organic decay. The Scottish Highlander settlers who came to Pender County brought with them folk tales of the origin of these mysterious lights. I will tell you the tales, and you can decide what to believe.
children. We're getting closer to Aunt Jenny's. Honey, do you think we can stop?
There's a clearing just up ahead. If we stop now, the mosquitoes are going to carry us away. Why don't we go a little bit further and then we can stop? Hello? Hello there? Anyone there? Hi there, young man. Are you out here by yourself? We're trying to make it to Maple Hill. You think you can help us?
I can show you the way.
So do you live here? I don't see any houses around here. Who would want to live out here by this swamp anyway, huh? Hey kid, this isn't the way I thought we were gonna go. I don't think the kids can walk through this stuff.
Honey, the boy's gone.
Gather the kids up. We'll get out of here one way or the other. Who would pull a prank like this?
The family never made it to Aunt Jenny's, and the only evidence of the family searchers found next to the swamp was a small child's shoe. Our next story takes place near the Northeast Cape Fear River and twists through our county. The Northeast Cape Fear River is a black river that provides our county with a fun place to boat and fish, but also has caused great heartache when it swells and overspills its banks. The river should always be respected. The Scottish and the Irish began the custom of carving jack-o'-lanterns in the 1800s to ward off evil spirits around the holiday of All Souls Day. Tales are told of an unsavory thief named Jack who tried to trick the devil, but the devil got his payback after Jack died. See, Jack was not allowed into heaven, and he was barred from hell. The devil mockingly tossed him a burning coal from hell, and Jack put the ember in a carved-out turnip. Jack's punishment is left to wander the earth, with no place to rest, carrying his flickering light. Jack's story became Jack of the Lantern, or Jack-o'-lantern. Maybe the lights that have been seen are protectors of the river, or are they a more sinister thing like Jack? Let's go to the river on a warm fall night.
So, you couldn't catch a fish if I put it on the line for you.
Well, who caught the biggest fish last time?
So what? I'm just glad that we snuck out with no one waking up.
I know, my parents bring pretty family on Friday night.
Hey, was Joey gonna meet us tonight?
I don't know, he said that he couldn't get past his grandma in the recliner by the door.
Joey?
I think that might be him. Joey?
I don't know.
Joey? What was that?
It might have been old Jack.
Who's old Jack?
You know, he's like a ghost or something. My grandfather used to say that they saw these lights all the time in Scotland, like they float around the locks.
The locks, like Nessie or something?
No, really, they see lights all the time. Old Jack's soul cannot rest, so he floats around and chases people, just like that.
Jack or no Jack, no one's gonna believe us.
Yeah, no way. I won't say anything if you don't.
Deal.
Deal.
They never speak of the light and haven't tried night fishing since.
This is Colin Kehoe Robinson reporting live from the Ghost Walk of Pender's past. The year was 1943. America was at war. Men were bravely fighting in Europe and women were filling their jobs on the home front. There are many tales of wartime tragedies, but none more mysterious than the tale of the last flight of Sally Ann Corbett. Sally Corbett was a Women's Air Force Service pilot, WASP. Sally's first love would always be flying. Her second love was Matthew Walker, a top marksman. Sally said she loved Matthew into the blue and back. In November, Sally and her plane were lost at sea off the coast of what is now Topsail Island. No one ever saw or heard from her again. While the official report says that the plane was lost due to pilot error, there was no shortage of speculation as to what happened to her. But everyone has their own tales to tell.
After serving her 2-day grounding punishment for language unbecoming of a lady, Sally was scheduled to fly again, this time with me, Dee Dee, her best friend. The mission was a night flight for search light training. Easy as pie, but neither one of us could shake this ominous feeling. Could have been all the dirty looks we were getting, or all that whispering around base. Or maybe that threatening note Sally received. Matthew wanted Sally to report it, but we knew we couldn't show an ounce of indecision or hysterics lest we be pronounced unfit for duty. So, we reported for pre-flight check to scheduled. And Sally never spoke of that note again.
By all accounts, the ladies were doing an excellent job at it. They avoided the searchlight beams all night, at every turn. On their final flyby, Sally lost contact with ground control and Dee Dee's plane. Then Sally's plane just disappeared. Dee Dee and I went out to the island every night for months, and I returned to the island one last time to say our final goodbyes. Dee Dee made a promise to come back every year on the anniversary of Sally's disappearance and would sign a spotlight over the ocean. Dee Dee, why do we keep coming out here?
Because, Matthew, I'm not going to give up hope that one day Sally will return.
So what, if we're going to come out here every night, turning on the spotlight, and then what? She's going to come flying over the horizon? Where do you think she went? And what do you think happened to her?
Maybe it was the Germans, like the local says. And when she escapes, I'll be here to guide her home. Why? Do you know something that I don't?
No, but you know as well as I did that plane probably crashed into the ocean, and those locals weren't even here.
But I was. I had the bird's eye view. I didn't see the plane crash. Now how would you explain that?
Do you ever think there was no wreckage because the plane just sank into the ocean? Maybe the communication guys gave her a faulty radio, or the flight mechanics messed with her engine. Heck, even the AAA guys could have done something. They didn't like how she spoke to them.
Are you saying they tried to kill Sally?
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. Look, each of them could have done something to the plane as a prank to try and scare her. But combined, they brought the plane down because they didn't know what the others had done.
Then why hasn't anyone admitted to anything?
No one wants to confess when they would be responsible for Sally's death or the plane going down.
Well, what about you? Do you know anything about the plane's disappearance?
No. Why? Do you think I had something to do with it?
No, I don't. I just miss her. Sally was my best friend, and things just aren't the same without her, and you know it.
Well, you should know, coming out here every night, making us look guilty.
What?
You are our best friend, and I love to deal with her. But when people want answers, and they don't have any, they make stuff up.
Well, they won't have me to talk about much longer. I'll be transferring right after Christmas. But please promise me you'll continue to come out here and work that darn light after I leave.
Yes, Dee Dee, I promise, until I get sent out too.
Thank you.
Dee Dee kept her promise to return to the island every year. Locals have seen a woman walking the beach late at night with a handheld spotlight searching the horizon. When they get closer, she disappears, only to reappear once they've walked on and looked back. Some say it's Dee Dee trying to help her friend find her way back home. There have also been the sounds of a B-34 plane heard overhead between the waxing gibbous and the full moon. Could it be the ghostly echo of Sally's plane from that tragic night she took her final flight into the blue? Or is she attempting to find her way back to the love and friendship she knew at Camp Davis? We may never really know what happened on that ill-fated night.
Hi, my name is Arwen Smith. I'm the Executive Director of the Burgaw Area Chamber of Commerce, and I've been in my position for about a year. And in that year here at the train depot, I have seen and heard, mostly heard, sketchy things happening. While I'm here by myself, I hear footsteps, mainly in the big room that used to be the baggage platform. My predecessor actually saw or would smell smoke. And at one point, this building was torched by Union soldiers. And she sometimes would just smell that wood burning smoke coming through the building for no reason at all. And she would also hear the footsteps and stuff too, coming across in the next room. Just freaky things like that would happen.
Personally, it's just extremely eerie to work up here after it's dark. An old building, creaks and crackles and things like that. I do have a couple of secondhand stories though. In this room that we're standing in, there was a delivery driver that came up here and he walked down here by himself, and when he came back out, he was just white as a sheet, and I could tell that he was really shaken up. And I said, y'all ever see anything weird in that building there? And once I got it out of him what he was talking about, it turns out that he walked through a doorway and saw a female figure standing in this room. And whenever he came through the door and made his presence known, the figure spun and had on a real flowy dress that spun out as big as, he described it as a hoop dress, and then took off towards the main banquet room. And he didn't see any more of it on his walk back down to us. And then I know of a kitchen tenant that they like to work overnight in the kitchen, and they told me one morning as they were finishing up, they were telling me about seeing a figure that was just sitting at the corner of the kitchen watching them late one night. And they come from a culture that believes in that the majority of people believe in that type of thing. And they definitely had no doubts that they thought they had been visited that night.
Anybody in here?
Feed them a cut and blank. Yeah. My name is K.C. Moe. I went down in 1982. My sister went out here somewhere. Can't find it. Can't even find my own tombstone. I guess cause I didn't bury myself. But I've been resting for a while, so I decided I'd get up and walk amongst my friends. By the way, I'm grave digging. I can dig a grave 45 minutes. Stick a shovel up under there, have it ready, 45 minutes. I dug graves for Bill Shaw, for the Harolds. And oh, by the way, how times have changed. Wasn't this many markers when I was out here. But now, as I live. Took a little drink every now and then. But now as I look, there's a whole lot of tombstones out here now. Reverend Moe, the Marshman, the Fennell, the Reynolds. Whoa, Bill Shaw got to be around here somewhere. But you know something, one of my greatest things, I love to make them homemade biscuits. Yeah, them homemade biscuits. And I would get them things, I mix them up. I put them in the pan. But wait a minute now, I packed up, but I washed it before I come out the graveyard. Knock them biscuits down like that, put them in the pan. And me and Winnie, we had us a good time with those biscuits. But now, I believe I'm going to have to say farewell. Because I need to take a stroll back amongst my friends. But if you don't remember nothing else, please remember, I am grave digging KC Winnie Mo. Remember, Winnie, because I could do more with arm and one half than they could do. But farewell, time for me to go back. I feel a little stiff. It's been a while. And I'm going on. Going on now. Going amongst my friends. Oh, by the way, let me leave this here. Somebody else might need it. Farewell. It was nice talking to you. And I'm going to take my rest, and I don't know when I will see you again. Remember,
I was walking past the graveyard, the burial burying ground, when I heard a voice that turned my head around. My hair stood on end when I heard the sound of tombstones a-talking in the burial burying ground. Those spirits drifted round me, floating oh so near. Spirits gently whispered softly in my ear. They told me to relax, that nothing was to fear. It's just some tombstones talking. Won't you linger here? You know the tombstones are talking, each has a tale to tell. How some have gone to heaven, the rest have gone to hell. Calling across the graveyard, they weave a ghostly spell. Tombstones are talking, each has a tale to tell. Down in the Davis plot, I heard Miss Lucy say how she just took up on the Davis farm one day. She allowed she had no family and asked if she could stay. Grandma took her in, said, "It's okay." You know the tombstones are talking, each has a tale to tell. How some have gone to heaven, the rest have gone to hell. Calling across the graveyard, they weave a ghostly spell. Tombstones are talking, each has a tale to tell. Then my Uncle Brian up and testified how he loves cigars, the aroma never lied, and how it made him happy and oh so satisfied to find that box of Tampa nuggets buried by his side. Clifton muttered softly, a wife at either hand, how Estelle had the children and Vera got the land. He said he loved them both, but their memories turned to sand, sifting round his bones and through his wedding bands. You know the tombstones are talking, each has a tale to tell. How some have gone to heaven, the rest have gone to hell. Calling across the graveyard, weave a ghostly spell. Tombstones are talking, each has a tale to tell.